What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Nerd On Update, our weekly show in which we talk about the nerdy news that excited us and answer questions from you, the people. We don't introduce the host, so we will just get right into it, and I'll go first. Everybody was like, who's he going to do? Who's he going to pick?
Well, first, why is this a special episode, Josh?
Oh my gosh, you're right. So
good job, Corey.
This is update episode number 100.
100.
So
getting close to your age, Josh.
Yeah, we're getting really close to my age. Wow. So we decided March of a couple of years ago to like, hey, let's do another weekly show. And we want to answer questions because people were always sending us questions, and we wanted to cover news stuff too. And
was it a year ago or
no?
More?
It was. I said a couple of years ago, Tom.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Bitch, we saw it together.
But yeah. So episode 100. So let's get into this hundo episode, and I will start. My news is pretty quick because there isn't a lot of information about it. I just thought it was like, oh, interesting. Chinese authorities arrested 10 people for selling cheating software for games like Call of Duty, Overwatch, and more. And it is said to be the world's biggest, I just love the title of this, the world's biggest video game cheating ring. Yeah.
Funny thing is, they sat in a circle as well. So really,
they had like a round table.
That sounds a little misleading. I feel like there's definitely bigger ones for sure, but you know.
Are you sure?
They seized $76 million and luxury cars and among other items. So,
okay.
So,
holy shit.
So there's a market for it.
Was it something where they were for like competitive?
Yeah,
players?
so like
that's
video game analysts were saying
and
that
streamers and shit.
Yeah, like in esports and whatnot, in those like realms, people were using cheating software to.
Wow. I mean, it's one of those things where you know it exists, but you don't realize how like much money people are making off of that kind of software.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. They have a whole like in Japan, they have a whole hotel that is devoted to competitive gaming.
It's $1 billion industry now.
Yeah, I found out about that while I was. I found this headline and I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Baby, what?
What? Yeah. So, and then the next part of my news that I just thought was such a huge step. I'm not a huge sports nerd, but if I'm going to draw from one sport, baseball has always been my favorite. Go Padres. But this past week, the MLB announced that they are moving the 2021 All-Star Game from Atlanta in response to a new Georgia law that went into effect that limits a lot of voting rights for some groups of people, and it has civil rights groups deeply concerned.
Whoa.
I think it's amazing. I think it's great. MLB said that they really would like to, speak up for how they believe. The Players Association has said that they support it.
Be the change you want to see.
Yep. So
wow,
it's a big hit.
Vote which dollars,
like an economy. So I don't know. It's I think we talked about something recently where it was just it's a step, and
dope.
See what kind of happens. That's my news. Next person.
Mine also is very quick, so I'll just throw that in because I know we have some discussions coming up. Stephen Yeun is being eyed or in talks with Jordan Peele for Jordan Peele's next movie to come out, which has been slated for July 22nd of 2022. That was hard to say for me for some reason. July 22nd of 2022. That's all the news so far about it. It's just very exciting. Two very talented people who it was like a dream of people working together that I didn't know I needed in my life, but it definitely is. There's no information on Peele's next movie yet, except for the release date. Unless you have some that I couldn't find. Unless you got some like secret downtown.
Tom always has secret downtown.
No,
I know it's gonna be a social.
Well, I just like how Stephen Yeun has like kind of like really became like a huge star after Walking Dead, right?
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, his most famous part was Glenn in Walking Dead.
And
Fan
then
favorite.
he was in Oakjaw, and then now he's in Minari. Being he's the first Asian American actor to ever be nominated for an Academy
He's
Award.
the lead voice in Amazon's
Which is
Invincible.
And he's also in Voltron on Netflix. But
He's taking over.
I was thinking about him. I was thinking about Henry Golding, right? Like two Asian boys. And I was like, what if we remade Face Off, though? Because I was like, you got these two giant stars, right? And I was just like, I was just thinking of like the Asian Assance. I'm like, yes,
The Asian
men are
Assance?
sexy now.
Tom, I've told you this before. I need you to stop voicing your ideas because every time you do, I'm like, well, now I need
want that.
Face.
Hollywood needs to
Now I
do
need
it.
that.
But that's it. That's my news. Who's next?
I'll go next because I think Kaylin's is long and a little bit more discussional. You know me. You know what's happening,
Who
y'all.
are you, Tom?
I am the DC boy.
Wow.
He's got props now. He's got props. Watch our
Wow,
YouTube
wow.
to see those.
Yes. I gotta bring in all of the news of like what's going on in the DC comic books, the movies, and all the games and all that good stuff. But it will kind of lead into multiple things. So this is, I'm going to say like this, man. It is so hard to be a DC fan. Because
Hard out
you
here for a
think.
fan.
Yeah, and I want to say like this, and that this is someone like me who I think I've like tried to participate in fandom, and I try to buy merch and I try to talk about things in a positive way. I don't try to like shit on things X, Y, Z. But this is the main news parts. So Ray Porter, who recently portrayed Darkseid in Zack Snyder's Justice League, posted out a tweet saying, "Hey everyone, stop heckling or pestering Ava." At Ava, which is Ava DuVernay. And Ava DuVernay was working with Tom King, and they were like literally signed up from 2018. And this is like Aquaman time, before Birds of Prey, after Shazam-ish, I guess. And they were working together. Tom King literally ended his Batman run, 100-issue run early, 85, so that he can work with Ava DuVernay to do the Jack Kirby New Gods film. And Jack Kirby, if you don't know, he is like royalty. He helped create all the characters that Marvel has, like Spider-Man, Captain America, all these people. Everyone gives it to Stan Lee. Jack Kirby created most of the characterization for these people. And he was getting pissed at Marvel for treating him like garbage, so he left and then created New Gods. It was going to be complete separate, which would have had Darkseid, Highfather, Mr. Miracle, Big Barda, Granny Goodness, all these characters come from New Gods. And then DC rolled it in. Anyways, and we had heard inklings of how well Aquaman had did. It was $1 billion movie for a character that talks to fish, and everyone's like, all right, no one's making fun of Aquaman anymore. And James Wan was like, he introduced, or he showed us how good he can make the Trench, which is a New 52 creation, and with his horror element, and then there was a spinoff for that. So Ava replies back to Ray Porter and says, "Thank you, you are a class act, you are lovely to work with, and I hope one day our futures will connect or cross. We'll see what happens after the recent decision." And everyone's like, "Excuse me, what the fuck recent decision?" And this is all after the release of the Zack Snyder Justice League, which later on trended at 1.5 million, restore the Snyderverse. And this past week, Warner Brothers announced that they are no longer continuing with New Gods and The Trench. And the quote that everyone's running with was the statement of, because Darkseid just appeared as a foil in Zack Snyder's Justice League, we wanted to have more time away from the character before New Gods. And so this is like a lot of contention because Ann Sarnoff in that Variety or Deadline article that I talked about, that was Variety, said, we want to embrace the multiverse. And a lot of people are saying like, do you know what a multiverse means? Because you say the word, but it doesn't sound like you actually know the meaning of it. Because if you want to have all of them, you should be able to use all of it. Like everyone is like, Ben Affleck is Batman, Michael Keaton is Batman, Christian Bale is Batman, and then we'll have Robert Pattinson as Batman. Like all of them should be able to play. But for some reason, now that Darkseid showed up in a thing that should have been in 2017, some plan that you had in 2018, 3 years later, now you can't use it. So it feels very like, what is the plan? Because so far we've had more canceled projects than actually greenlit projects. And there is this level of like a lot of articles and and I hate to point this out and make this feel like it's me pointing fingers, but a lot of blue check marks, a lot of verified people being like, well, this fandom is the most toxic thing in the world, so that's why, like, even compared to Star Wars and blah, blah, blah. And this is the thing, and I don't want it to be like a tit for tat, where it's like, right now, Zack Snyder's Justice League isn't the thing that's getting like death threats for its actors. That's another show. That's across the street, but no one wants to talk about that. And so there's a lot of craziness going on with that world. That being said, at the time of this recording, there's a whole like schedule of like, hey, like we're gonna hashtag Deathstroke on April 5th. We're gonna hashtag, restore the Snyderverse on April 22nd. So it's kind of like we're trying to show that there is there is interest, and it's not just with the fringe amount of the fandom. So yeah, it's interesting to see that those things happen, because it just doesn't seem like there's a overall plan. I think it just doesn't show where like, and I'm going to say like in the nitty gritty, Darkseid is a multiversal thing. So you could literally have Darkseid show up everywhere, and it doesn't matter. And like there was other articles. Yeah. And so there's other articles that dropped like Robert Pattinson's Batman will be Earth 2 Batman. It's like, who cares? Like, who honestly cares? Because it doesn't matter. Like, you didn't need to put that piece of reference in there unless you're going to reference it somewhere else where, like, this is Earth 2. Like, in Crisis on Infinite Earths with CW, they said, this is Earth X. This is Earth, 6, blah, blah, blah. This is Earth 53. Like, they used it for a reason. So, like, if you're going to try to keep these contained, kind of like a DC Black label, like Joker, Matt Reeves' Batman, then why would you need to quantify what it is unless you're going to use it for storytelling purposes in Flash? And with Flash, a lot of people are kind of saying like, are you just throwing everything you can in there because there hasn't been any full confirmation that Michael Keaton is even actually going to be in there or not? They've already cast a Supergirl. They're casting a bunch of actors in there that for unspecified roles. So it's interesting again, where it's like, if you want to embrace a multiverse, then you gotta have to say like, we can choose what we want to connect, have things connect, and what things don't connect. And some things don't connect. And I think a lot of people are kind of like, oh yeah, cool, fine. Like you had CW, and then you had Spider-Verse, and then you mentioned multiverse in Zack Snyder's Justice League, and you mentioned multiverse even before the film came out. So the idea of like, well, we only want to pick and choose what is connected sounds a little bit more like, well, then everything should be at play. Like we want to hear all the voices and all the different interpretations. So it would be nice. Yeah. It would be nice so that people would just be like, leave it alone. We just want all the things. It's possible to like everything.
And all the things.
And like people being like, we want to give you money, but you have to let us know what the hell your plan is.
Yeah.
So there's that. I'm gonna be.
Does that mean Ava's cleared up for that X-Men movie I want her to make?
She's still in the DC world because I think she's creating DMZ for HBO Max, and then she's creating Naomi.
She's my only choice right now, though.
She's creating Naomi for CW.
She's my only choice.
So for me, movie. I'm kind of like, well, I don't know. It's just weird. I think the quote unquote term was like, we want to not keep them on the hook, and we wanted to let them be freed up to do other things. I'm like, you should just ran with it. Like, just commit to a thing. Like, let people decide if they want to see that or not. Like, that's what sequels were. Like, they weren't because you were just strong arming like a universe. It was like, do people like it? We'll make another one. Do people don't like it? Then we're done. Like, I don't know. That's just me. And it's just like, let everything play and then let people decide what they want to have as canon or not. They already do that now. So,
yeah. So my news today is sort of a springboard for conversation about something that happens literally every day. So Seth Rogen did a follow-up for an interview that he did about his movie, This Is the End. It came out in 2013, but there was this rumor that had circulated that Emma Watson stormed off the set. And so he came out recently to say, no, that's not what happened. What actually happened was we improv this scene, and it turned into something that she wasn't expecting. So we had a talk at the end of the day, and then she parted ways, and it was completely like mutual.
A professional business conversation.
Professional business conversation. We parted ways.
No way.
But the fact that this was even brought up the way that it was made me curious about the GQ article as well. So I went and read it, and even in the GQ article, I mentioned a story I'd heard a rumor about, but that wasn't included in the book, and he clears it up there. But then it comes back again later to be cleared up even more that wasn't what like he meant, and his words were clear, but I guess not clear enough. So kind of what I wanted to talk about with all of this is like every time you read a news article about literally anything, it can even be like your local hero saves puppy from a drain pipe. Like you never know the full picture of like a thing that's happening. And
research,
which I get that, like, for me to even go to the original GQ article and be like, yeah, this wasn't even, why is this all the hubbub now? But like another thing that I saw trending today was things we should cancel, like hashtag things we should cancel. And I'm just like,
well, wait. Did you see what it was? They were like student
doesn't
debt.
matter. I'm talking about all of it as a whole because it's the headline. It's always the headline. And I worked as a journalist for 8 years, and it was literally all about the headline. We even had our boss being like, you need to make it more
You sell a headline, not a story.
Yeah, you saw a headline on a story, and then you just run with whatever information. And that's how the rumor mill just circulates like crazy. That's why tabloids are so popular.
I've seen things where the headline is one thing, and then you get into the article, and you're like,
completely different.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
I mean, there has to be there's a little bit of accountability of like journalistic integrity for sure, of like making sure you're asking like kind of objective based questions. You know, you could lead a person down a string of questions that makes it just difficult for them. So it's kind of like, you know, what was it like for her doing that stuff? And then it's like Seth Rogen has no option but to say something that doesn't sound good. Right. And it's like also if they go up to Emma Watson and be like, why did you walk off set? And it's like, okay, Jesus.
Yeah.
Like you're pressuring people in the wrong places. And it is that point of like doing a little bit of due diligence of like who said what.
Right.
Because like, you know, just a weird side tangent, like Brett Culp, he made a joke about Godzilla vs. Kong and Martha and all that stuff. It's like, and everyone's like, oh, that's such a played out joke. It's like, he literally did like a 20-minute video essay about like how he loved Batman vs. Superman. So it's like, you don't know who's making the joke.
Right.
You know, it's like, and yeah, the whole like what we should cancel. Cause I looked at that too. And I was like, are my eyes going to roll out? And it was like, we should not have like only one kind of color car. It's like, we should have all these color cards. I'm like, oh, so this is kind of like a nice thing.
Right. But it's also, it's all context based on every single situation, and every single situation is different. And I got all uppity about the GQ article, which is why I immediately went and read the whole thing, because I knew, like, it's always the individual writer, whoever's writing that piece. You don't know, as you were saying with the person who did the 50-minute video essay, like, you never know the intention of the person who's writing that content. Everyone has biases, whether or not they
have blinders.
Actually care to recognize their own biases or not.
Yeah.
And I feel like the more you scrutinize the way in which people approach topics, the more you realize when bias bleeds in. And that has been something that has just rubbed me the wrong way for a really long time. So when I saw the Seth Rogen, Emma Watson thing, I was like, oh, so we're clearing up something that was already cleared up? Great. I mean, I'm glad that it's getting some kind of resolution, but this is also from a movie from 8 years ago. And how long has Emma Watson had to live under this? Oh, she was uncool and unprofessional because she stormed off a set. And that's a rumor that's been sitting for 8 years and is only just now getting cleared up. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think that's a tough thing. And I think that's why you find out that most people who are in the entertainment industry stay away from social media.
Right.
And it's kind of like, you know, Chrissy Teigen. Like she pieced out of Twitter, and they, you know, everyone called her the de facto mayor of Twitterville, and she pieced out because it was just like too much. And it's like it is like, you know, like Joe Rogan will say like, post, drop the phone, walk away for the rest of the day. Or Ben Affleck was like, hey, when you're being Batman, people will say really terrible things. He's like, I'm fine. I can handle it. He's like, oh, never mind. Close it, turn off the laptop, throw it away. And so it is that tough thing of like, and I think it's all honestly about Seth Rogen being like, wait, people say that shit? Oh, hell no. So it's like, let me clear this shit up because this is dumb. And, Seth Rogen is on his like second life cycle of like, I'm making vases. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starting a weed company and making vases.
Oh my Lord. Yeah. That's hilarious. But yeah. So that was my little like, I can't, why is
Good
this
topic.
happening?
Old lady
you know
Caitlin
what's-
just came out and shook her fist at the sky.
You know what's next though?
Next is questions from you, the people.
That's right.
We get to answer. That's what I like. We get to answer questions from you, the people. And if you would like to submit questions, there are so many different ways. It's kind of ridiculous. You can send us an email, questions@nerdon.tv. You can go to nerdon.tv/questions. You can do old fashioned. You could send us a letter. Our P.O. box is on our website. You can go to our website, do a contact sheet. There's questions. You can submit questions there. You can also join our Discord, nerdon.tv/Discord. There is a channel there to submit questions for this show. You can also, this is the best part, if you join the Nerd On Nation, you get what we call the Nerd On Nudge, which puts your questions at the front of the line. That Nerd On Nudge, fun stuff. And if you are a member of the Nerd On Nation, you do get a secret channel, a bunch of secret channels on there that you can submit questions there as well. But you can ask questions about anything. And if you're live on our Twitch, you can submit questions there. But you can ask questions like B-Rad. Brad asks, I can't remember what I have and haven't asked before, or if this has already been answered from someone else asking, but what is your favorite light science fiction piece of fiction? For example, some of mine are the films Ex Machina, The Discovery. Machina.
Sorry.
I'm always corrected by Tom. I love it.
Sorry.
The Discovery and Cold Souls, and I love the Unwind book series growing up.
I'm like the Microsoft paperclip, except I say
Always.
sorry.
He's Clippy. Tom is our Clippy.
That was a good catch though. I'd say Ex Machina is one of my favorites.
I don't know what constitute, like I see those, and like out of those, I probably have only seen Ex Machina.
If I can, from what I experience of sci-fi, light sci-fi is more like imagine our world and then like Black Mirror it. Like it goes a little bit further. Like imagine cameras that could
But not Star Wars or Star Trek.
Star Wars, and this is like a very fucking pretentious way I'm going to say this. Star Wars is more fantasy, if anything.
Okay.
Right, but I'm just saying those are the two people usually throw in
Star
sci-fi.
Trek is a sci-fi, but Star Wars is a fantasy because Star Trek has to explain their science and Star Wars does not.
Yeah, sure. I see that.
And so sci-fi typically tries to answer questions of human
That wasn't my point.
condition. Yeah, I'm sorry. Human condition. So like Ex Machina is more about like AI and like what do we do with the technology that we have? Where there's like more like quote unquote hard sci-fi, which is like Raised by Wolves, which is like how do humans colonize on planets? How do we build religion? And what do we do with our relationships? And can we build relationships with robots? Like that's more of a hard sci-fi. Like iRobot is more hard sci-fi of like the world's already established. But like Ex Machina is like we still live within our world. From what I could, that's how I see it.
Still
And I
stick by my answer. I mean, yeah.
I feel like all the things that I've experienced.
Always fast color is my answer to everything.
Yeah, that's a good a soft sci-fi.
So fast color then would be my real answer.
I feel like all of my things come more from the fantasy realm than the sci-fi realm.
Well, here's the thing. Yes, Star Wars is more of a fantasy. It's still a sci-fi setting.
Right.
So
well, no, I
still
just
a
mean
hard
in
sci-fi,
general,
so-
though. Like my experience comes from the fantasy setting and not the sci-fi setting in general. So, like, yeah, Star Wars would be a fit for that, but I don't know what I would pick outside of that. But maybe I just have like a blind spot for this specific thing because light is throwing me off.
Yeah, when I heard hard sci-fi, I was like, "What do you mean? Isn't sci-fi just sci-fi?" They're like, "No." I was like, "Okay, whatever." But Ex Machina is definitely one for me. But I think if I were to pick, it would be Episode 3, Season 1, of Black Mirror. And the episode is pretty much you have these chips that are inserted into behind your ear,
yeah.
and they record everything in that your eye sees, so you can replay memories. And the episode, not a huge spoiler or anything like that, but you'll see like when married couple who have like no passion in their life, they're literally recording the first time of them having sex, not being in the moment, because the greatest moment for them was like when the first time they consummated. And so it's like also like downloading other people's memories of like being able to see like what they did, or like if I saw you lie about what you said to me, then I take your chip and I could watch what you did. And so like it's how do we open up that Pandora box of like, oh my God, what does that do? And it's all within, there's no flying cars or anything like that.
Right.
So yeah, I to me, I'm very big in like how does it affect our relationships with people? And I have the biggest like there's this show on YouTube called Technology Kills Romance, and I'm like, it's so true.
Like, I mean, Cowboy Bebop would be
pretty, yeah.
light sci-fi.
Man, I'm having a
Sci-fi
hard
Western.
time with this. I think
Let me see.
maybe the Red Rising book series.
Ooh, what is that?
It's a dystopian science fiction that takes place like hundreds of years from now, and like society has turned into basically like a sect system. Like there is like the elite, like the rich basically they almost have superpowers. Like they have like
That's cool.
they have things that have changed them, that give them powers like strength or stuff like that. And then you have like the lower class that basically their only thing that they can do is be like miners, or, but they've also like society has gone out to colonize other planets. But it doesn't really like, the story is basically around this one character that is, the color is red, the lowest sect is red. And he basically gets modified and works himself into the higher class.
Oh.
And it's kind of like this like society tear down. I think maybe I don't.
That's like Gattaca.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
So other ones for people who are listening who may not know, again, it's like a very nebulous thing. Sunshine, Moon, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Arrival, Ad Astra, Snowpiercer, Donnie Darko, Inception.
Oh.
These are all like what would be considered also light sci-fi, but
Could Tenet be a light sci-fi?
yeah.
Yeah.
I still
for
haven't
sure.
seen Inception, but I feel like that would be my pick if I had. That's sort of
maybe.
a strange statement to make, but I feel like I would
it's-
like
there-
Inception.
There's a moment in there that I think you would really enjoy, and it's actually a really sad moment, but it's like very like, well, what does it say about humanity? So
We live in a
next
society.
question.
Next question comes from Spencer. Shout out. What cocktail best encapsulates each of your co-hosts?
Oh
Oh,
Lord.
jeez.
So we got to point at each other, or are we just doing it as a group? Like, who are you like?
I think they do
wanna
the
do?
group thing, like kind of the astrology that we do sometimes.
Okay.
I feel like Corey
the topical
is
astrology.
like a smoked glass and whiskey with some kind of like fruit pop in it, like a tart cherry or something.
I'm an old fashioned fan. So it's pretty
That's
close.
exactly what I was going to say, because anytime
Which you,
I've ever
the
drank
sweetness
with him,
would just come from sugar and bitters, which is I use orange bitters. So
Okay, great. Then you're old fashioned.
I love old fashions.
I feel like
I'm
Josh.
an AMF.
Tom's a Jaeger
Okay.
shot.
Wait, Jaeger?
No, Tom would be. Oh,
Tom,
what
what's
is
that green drink
car
you
bomb?
made me?
Yeah, he would be a car bomb.
Tom, what's
It's
that green
just
drink
like-
you made me get?
Oh, Midori Sour.
Yeah, that's Tom.
It's pretty baller.
I don't know. I feel like a car bomb.
Look up Midori Sour.
It's
It's really
quote
good.
unquote not a very masculine drink, but I'm like, yo, it tastes good. Who
I
gives
feel
a
like
damn?
Yeah.
I feel like the car bomb's more appropriate though, because it's just like hard and fast, and you're like, ah. Like, but then it's great, and you're like immediately in a great mood right after.
This is Tom.
That's Tom.
He's the Midori
that
sour.
green drink right
Lime
there.
and
This is
it was
that
really good.
This is that person syndrome or prism of like we all see each other very differently.
Very
'Cause,
differently.
Like Corey, I would love to have you as an old fashioned, but you're to me like you're like a light old fashioned, as in like you're very easy to take in for me.
Oh, old fashions are
it's-
not.
Well, like sometimes you do it really smoky, and it's like okay, I have to sip all night.
No. That's why I use them orange bitters instead of regular bitters. Because I'm like, oh,
And Josh, for me,
Little
kind of
fruit.
feels like, and this is more like there's a cocktail called a New York cocktail, and it has wine on top, and I like it because it's a little sophisticated, but it's also very summery though. Like it's kind of like, oh, you have to find a good wine for this. You use all these different things in there. For me, but that's just for me. And like Caitlin, I feel like
Box wine? No, I'm just kidding.
Screwdriver.
All
Caitlin.
right, I was actually going to say a margarita for you, so still appropriate.
I'm just
I
kidding.
think
Salty
Caitlin's
around the rim.
I was gonna say Caitlin's more like a mojito.
I'm a mojito.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Like
I was
it's
gonna
fresh and it has a good zing zest to it. It's more the freshness and it's actually like on a hot day like I actually feel like I'm getting hydrated although I'm not.
Yeah.
I think I said screwdriver because from the outside you're like orange juice. Oh, it's so sweet. But then you're like, oh, but she also does jujitsu, and that's where the vodka on
got
the
a
inside
bite.
of the drink. You're like, whoa, I didn't know that vodka was in there.
I'm sorry.
That's perfect.
I love it.
Talon in the chat just like called me out and was
that's
just
not
like
bad,
Tom's
right?
a trash can.
A number of selected
Tom is the
alcohols that
alcohol
are
at
red.
the end.
Oh my lord.
I think Caitlin's a screwdriver.
That sounds
I think
appropriate
that's-
for me. I like screwdriver and or mojito.
Yeah.
I would love
Or anything that's like, or mimosa. Like anything that like on the outside you're like, this is very sweet. You're like,
that's
oh, but
so fruity
it
and
kicks
fun.
ass at the same
You're like,
time.
I would
Whoa.
love to be a sake bomb.
Sake bomb?
because
Tom
you can-
introduced me to sake bomb.
Because you can have both, right? You can have the sake or you can have the beer, but if you have them combined, then it's like, all right. It's like either we're chilling or we're going crazy.
I
right?
don't
Like,
remember what movie it was, Tom, but we went to a sushi restaurant. We had time to kill, and we had sake bombs before the
It was
movie.
John Wick.
It was John Wick. We had, I think, 2 or 3 each, and we were fine sitting there. But as soon as we stood
Yeah,
up
that sounds right.
and started walking out, we were like, "Oh shit, we got to make it to them seats. We're gonna make it to those seats," and we
I
did.
made a huge
we
mistake.
enjoyed John Wick.
Oh my
John Wick
God.
2. But Tom sake bombs.
Sake bomb. Anyways.
Yeah, because you know what? They taste good. They're but they can be very exciting all at the same time. Which
They're-
Tom has
I
these
would agree
bursts of
with that.
excitement where you're like, "Whoa, that's aggressive," but then you take it and you're like, "Actually, that was pretty good."
But it's also
Yeah,
kind of a party
okay.
drink too.
I switched to
So,
that.
I'm just saying. But no.
yeah, I
switched
think
to
Tom's
sake
that
bombs
like
for
it
sure.
comes off aggressive, but then once you know what it is, you're like, "Oh, that was really good actually. It's very sweet."
But, yeah, this is me. Josh, do you have a different suggestion for anyone?
No, I think all of those are perfect. I do think I would probably lean towards the screwdriver for Caitlin. Sans like aside from the mojito, like I think screwdriver. I think Corey said it perfectly. Like,
Think it's gonna be all fruit and fun.
yeah,
And you're like,
It's
oh,
not.
we're adults now.
It'll fuck you up. All right, next question.
Next
question comes from Zell. Is that how you would say that?
Zell.
Zell.
Yeah.
Bit of a thinker. If you were in the Pokemon world, what would you want to be? Gym goer, gym leader, random person, police, Pokestar, Cord, etc. And who would be? Oh, just a second. The cell. Thank you, Tom. And who would be your Pokemon team?
That's a huge
So
question.
I have an answer for this already. Not the team part. I think I've answered the team thing a couple times online, but I know that my initial answers would want to be like, oh, I want to be the very best, like no one ever was. I want to be the Pokemon master, but in reality, I know myself. I would be the daycare guy, and I would take care of all the Pokemon.
Me and my wife found an egg. You
One of my
want it?
favorite jobs I had was taking care of dogs in New York at a daycare, and I just know that's I'd be like, I'm gonna battle, but first I'll get a day job first at this daycare, and then I would just run it by the end of it all because I just get to all the fun stuff, none of the responsibility. You just get to take,
You still
one of
get
my
to play with
favorite things
Pokemon.
is I had this dog Ginger I would take care of, and obviously I didn't have to pay for vet bills, blah blah blah. But I got to see her every day, get to walk her, hang out with her, and then it's like that uncle job. You get to be the uncle. Being an uncle is great.
Your Uncle
Cool
Corey
uncle.
for my
It's a lot of
Luna.
work. Yeah, exactly. So I would be a daycare
Okay.
guy.
All right. Tom would be a gym leader, probably.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to say. If it's more like our reality, like how Pokemon Detective Pikachu was like, I'd probably be still an artist, a filmmaker maybe. And then my Pokemon would probably be Smeargle because no one cares about him. And I'd be like, that's me. I understand.
But they said
Smeargle
your
got-
team. They said your team.
I know. But if it's hard into Pokemon life, like Corey, it's like for sure. Honestly, I might actually just be like an archaeologist. Like I would legit just want to find legendary Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like that's all I would want to do is just like I just want to find them all. I just want to see them. I don't even care about catching them, but it's like, oh wow, there it is. And it's like we fucking saw a dragon. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, my team though is, I gotta have. I mean, if I gotta go up and down and all around all this place, easiest Pokemon to have is Mew because it's the utility Pokemon. But you could transform to anything. But obviously an Umbreon on the shoulder to walk around. I'd probably go with like I'd want to do Charizard for sure, but it's just like, man, you're not dragon type, and you're gonna get slapped around by this. Like, if we flying and it's raining, you need a Salamence for that. You know what I'm saying? If you go underwater, then I'll probably do a Wailord because I just go and like he eats me, and then we just go underwater. You know what I mean? Like chilling like a villain. And then probably get like a scissor to chop through some jungle forest in case or something like that, and then like probably like a Tyranitar to go dig underground if we need to, fight some Steelixes if we need to. A pretty, balanced team for exploring,
Yeah.
Corey, what was your team?
It would be, I've answered this before. If I was a gym leader, I'd be a psychic gym leader. Psychic's my favorite.
Alakazam.
I mean, the rest of my team can be interchangeable as long as there's an Alakazam, an Abracadabra or Alakazam on my team.
Both.
We're set. I don't need all three. That's fair. Although if I'm running a daycare, who cares then? I'll take all three. A little Abra is like the cutest Pokemon I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh my god, yeah.
So, yeah, it would be all psychic team. I'd have to have Alakazam. I have to have Mewtwo on there. That was, how could I not? I mean, it's legendary. I get it, but man. And then Espeon.
Well, it can talk to Pokemon for you.
Yeah. I'll have the little, I'll mirror Tom. He'll have Umbreon. I'll have a little Espeon on my shoulder. Those are my top three psychic type Pokemons. Probably a Gardevoir in there somewhere.
A Gengar.
It's not psychic, but
to protect my dreams.
yeah.
John?
I'll take a Mew too as well. Mew.
Wow.
Utility Pokemon,
Just
Tom.
shopping.
He's technically psychic, so
Fair.
I'm not like super knowledgeable, but like I feel like I would be like, I don't know, like one of those like NPC like mentors that's like, hey, if you want to do this is how you do that.
you'd be the guy in the first game where they're like, hey, I helped create the game.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in here.
And like I
One of
think
the coding guys.
one Pokemon that I've always found to be like so adorable, Togepi. Is that his name? It's like the little eggshell.
Togepi.
Like,
You would have
I'd love to have like a little like sitting on my shoulder.
You can be the chairman of the Pokemon fan club.
I guess that's me.
Or you could be Mr. Fuji.
Yeah.
Or you could be the old guy who's like, quote unquote, sleeping. He's actually drunk. And he teaches you how to catch a Pokemon.
You've really
casted
casted some great people.
He's still the NPC that's helpful. These are NPCs that are
That's true,
helpful.
They are.
But I want to be like really helpful, like the tutorial NPC that
Fuji.
just shows up out of nowhere.
So you would be the professor.
Yeah, maybe.
Professor
God.
Oak.
Which kind of tree would you be?
I don't
Professor
know what that
Redwood?
Oh, yeah. So they're oak, they're birch.
Oh.
They're
That's
always
the
named
name
after
of-
trees.
Yeah.
Could I be like Professor Pine?
Yeah.
Hey, man, it's what you want.
There isn't one yet, I don't think, right?
It's what you want.
Now there is.
The world is your Pokédex. You could be anything you want.
Kaylin?
I would probably be in the line of the archaeology type of thing of trying to explore things. But I don't know if I would actually be with like a team of archaeologists or like somehow finding like I know my team would be Ninetales, Mew, Rapidash, Charizard. I feel like I had a fifth, but I can't remember. I know those were my four. And then I would probably just like go around with my crew and look for stuff from the old world. That sounds like exactly what I do.
You're an archaeologist too.
Maybe, but that's not what I said out loud. So
So you're kind of an archaeologist as well.
Yeah, but I feel like I would be the like one nugget you had to happen upon by chance in the game that you accidentally found it and you're like, who are you? And just have this like team of mishmash Pokemon and you're like, what is this? And I just disappear and you never see me in the game again. Feel like that'd be my MO.
Maybe they see you once picking up a Pokemon from the daycare.
See,
And they're like, who is that? And I'm like, I don't know. She's been coming here for years.
and then you see me like one other time in an ancient ruin, and then I just poof and I'm gone.
Yeah.
So you're like the ruins maniac
Yeah.
Sure.
who's got
Yeah.
the Pokeballs on the ground. They're like, and then they're
Yeah.
like always talking about like, you see that rare Pokemon come by, and we're like, and you always battle them for no reason. You're like, why are you battling?
Nah, I wouldn't battle. I'd just peace. I'd be like, I will crush you. I don't
So
want to
there
fight.
you have it. You have random maniac in the game. You have the daycare. You have archaeologist and professor.
Yeah.
Welcome to Pokemon.
Welcome to Pokemon, the best game ever.
I think we should create our own unlicensed game where it's called Nerd On, and people use us to battle.
Wow.
Like,
That's
Josh, go! And Josh has to use like audio sound, like you're a sound Pokemon.
Sound wave.
Yeah.
That's his attack.
That's
sound wave.
that's a thing in the Xenoverse. There's sound type Pokemon.
Oh, wait, sorry. 5.1.
Yeah.
That'll be his attack, is 5.1.
That's my ultimate.
Questions from
Questions from the chat.
The
Time chat.
Yes. So I have the first one here. This is from last week in the chat. Again, we try to answer them all. From Thomas Silario. What fictional character would you name your child or pet after?
Oh.
Well, I mean, I
Gandalf.
already kind of have that.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Your
Luna.
babies.
Luna's named after.
yeah, I
Luna,
do too.
Luna Lovegood. From Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My cat is named Sugar after Sugar Cane, a Marilyn Monroe movie, Some Like It Hot. And then Margot is named after Margot Tenenbaum from the Royal Tenenbaums. And my fish, God rest his soul, the general, was named General Maximus Decimus Meridius after Gladiator. And he lived to be 4.5 years old. So
Nice.
suck it.
Wow.
They're only supposed to live till 2, so it was a big deal.
I did name, there's like vague nerd references to the pets I've had in the past. There was Darth Giblet, which was my hamster. And then I had Parmesan Von Bun, which was my bunny. Yeah.
That makes-
Parmesan.
So it's like close.
Gene Parmesan.
It was a Parmesan colored bun. So it was like kind of
tell me-
Transformers and kind of Darth Vader, but not. So that's as close as I get.
Tell me if
This counts.
I'm not the smartest person. I don't have child, a daughter named Helen, after Helen of Troy, because I want people to fight over her.
Wow, that's
Oh, okay. Or you could name her Helena and name her after a My Chemical Romance song.
Ooh.
No, Helen. That's
Helen,
good.
and then a dog named Seymour Butts
Wow.
Yeah.
from Futurama.
Seymour.
I would
yeah.
have if I had a child, I would name him the Black Parade.
A child?
Here's a cool thing. My nephew is actually named Emrys,
Oh,
which, if you don't know, is the Celtic name for Merlin.
that's cool.
Oh,
Because
that
his
is
dad's name is
dope.
Arthur.
Oh, that's
My
cute.
brother-in-law's name is Arthur, named after King Arthur. So it's
I
Arthur
would
and
do
Emrys,
that.
which
I
is
would do that.
I can't
Fresh.
name my son Bruce, or else I will die in an alley.
yeah.
You don't know that.
Thomas.
I cannot.
Next question.
Next question. From Black Diablo Mamba. Question. Like Justice League Snyder Cut, what event in your life would you like to rewrite? No, we've done this already.
We did
Yeah, we
that one.
did.
Tom,
Yeah.
next
Too
Too
question.
late. Sorry, you bad.
All right. What is the
Listen
small
last week.
This is the next one from Mamba. What is the small possibility of a Justice League 2 movie? Which unmentioned character would you like to see to make an appearance?
Well, I'm not going to speculate on the likelihood of Justice League 2 at this point. Restore the Snyderverse. But if I had a character I want to see, it'd be Green Lantern, 100%.
Which one?
John Stewart.
John Stewart.
I would love, don't get me wrong, I would love to have Ryan come in and do a cameo as Hal, but I want John Stewart in the Snyder. He fits the Snyderverse very well.
Does Caitlin start with a B?
Power Girl.
Batman.
Power Girl.
You were close though.
I was like, big.
P.
No.
Power Girl.
Power Girl.
I love
Okay.
Power Girl.
For Justice League 2.
That's a good answer.
Characters. I'm thinking I would
Brainiac.
No. I mean,
Tom's got every character swimming.
I
in
would
his
love to
brain
see
right
Bizarro
now.
Superman, like legit a live action Bizarro Superman would make me really happy.
you know who I'd like to see?
No.
Huh.
Shira Hall, Hawk Girl.
Oh.
I want to see a Thanagarian come out.
That'd be
and being
cool.
Like,
That'd
yo,
be real cool.
we heard that some shit was happening on this planet. Why? And they're like, yo, anti-life. And they're like, so you are the most, we have to protect this planet at all costs, then that's what you're saying. And so all the aliens come in. You know
There
what
it
I'm
is.
saying?
I would say Barbara Gordon, Batgirl.
That'd be good.
You saw, I don't know if I talked about this, but like, I don't know if you saw the video, but Joe Manganiello in Ben Affleck's movie where they were going to fight, Batgirl was going to be in it.
No, I didn't. I
And then
saw,
the continuation of
I saw
Ben Affleck's
glimpses of it.
the continuation of Ben Affleck's Batman would have had Carrie Kelly be the new Robin. And I'm like, we've never had a live action female Robin.
Talon says they're doing it for Black Adam.
We have do we have Shira Hall or do we have I saw we had Carter Hall, which is I forget what his name is, but he's in
Hawkfella?
Invisible Man. Huh?
Sorry.
Hawk Gentleman.
Yeah, I was going to say Hawk Gent.
Harvey Birdman.
But it's Aldous Hodges? Hodges? Aldous Hodges? Anyways. Next question then.
Yes.
From Burke Halter. Yes, gotta make sure I said it correctly. Burke Halter. If I haven't watched the first Justice League, do I need to watch that to watch the Snyder Cut?
No,
Nope. I didn't.
you don't need to. But Tom's about to explain why you should.
Well, I'm gonna say like this. Maybe, thankfully, we got the Justice League so people realize how good it could have actually been.
Yeah.
You know, like it's kind of like you gotta see, I'm just gonna channel Bob Ross, but I'm watching a lot of Bob Ross. Sometimes you gotta have the darkness to see the light.
It's a good thing to watch before I go to bed. As I put on Bob Ross
Yeah.
as I'm in bed playing some Magic on my phone.
My input is do what you want. I didn't watch the original one, and I don't intend to. I have no
There you
interest in upping their view count of that movie.
No. Next question.
Next question. Oh, Josh did his. Is he also?
I mean, I would copy paste. I
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that you can, but you don't have to watch this one. You don't have to at all.
But know that you might accidentally talk about spoilers that you don't realize are spoilers. If you
How much time we have left for questions, Josh?
I'd say let's do like one more.
One more. Okay. From Black Diablo Mamba, question: because Kong versus Godzilla came out last week, which anyways, which kaiju monster from any universe would you want to see fight?
You okay, Tom? You had a little Godzilla versus Kong.
I had a brain thing because I've called it Godzilla versus Kong, and I've seen a lot of people call it Kong versus Godzilla, and I'm like, maybe it should have been called that because of
how it
this is
plays
not
out.
spoiler. This is not spoiler, but the director was like, you're going to take it, or the trailer is like, you kind of see like Godzilla is like the aggressor.
Yeah.
So it's like, someone's going against somebody, but also it's just characters. Which
I already
kaiju
thought
monster-
about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
I really want. This is so silly because it's kind of like just matchups from different worlds, but I really want Blue Eyes White Dragon to fight Godzilla. Like really bad, and then I want Hulk to fight King Kong. I don't know why. This is
Blue
what
Eyes
I
White
want.
Dragon isn't that big.
That's
that,
fine.
right? Okay, it would have been. It's like a bird compared
Great.
to Godzilla.
But he could be really powerful. All right, then what do you want? What's his face that has all the limbs everywhere?
Cthulhu.
No, from Yu-Gi-Oh. Exodia. Yeah, it's
No, he
Exodia.
doesn't have he's a regular humanoid.
Great. He's got all these Egypt powers. Go use them on Laser Lizard. Go
Okay,
forth.
I like that. I like Yu-Gi-Oh monsters versus Godzilla.
Yeah. I don't know why, but that just really tickled the fancy, so I'm about it.
I think it would be cool to see one of the kaijus from like Pacific Rim fight Godzilla.
We may get that.
Because like Godzilla is more so the protector of Earth, at least in his mind. And like the kaiju are from another dimension. And it would be cool to see like
that
monster on monster action.
Are we still talking about fighting?
That's immediately where my brain went too.
I think it's good though. I think that's
Corey?
I mean, when I was growing up, one of my I loved Godzilla. I loved Mechagodzilla, but Destroya was like, I love the design. I think he's one of the cooler looking villains of the Godzilla verse. But also like, let's not forget about one of the most underutilized kaiju, which is the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters.
What did you do, Ray?
I think he needs to make a reappearance somehow.
Oh my God.
Yeah. To help Godzilla. I think it'd be great.
Oh my God.
What did you do, Ray?
The chat
He can die again. It's fine.
The chat is coming up with some great ones. Godzilla versus Clifford the Big Red Dog. Goldar versus Kong. Godzilla versus the Angels of Evangelion.
So,
for me, I already put my pick on Twitter, and I wanted King Kong to fight Biollante, and then I wanted Godzilla to fight Destroya. But if I'm going to choose it from another IP,
Destroya, dude.
I'm going to say Godzilla versus the Cloverfield monster.
Oh,
yeah.
What?
Cloverfield monster.
There's
I never
franchise. Yeah,
I never saw.
Yeah. I'm not going to
scary?
say anything about that. But no, it's sad.
Oh.
People explode because they're being infected with things. But I would say, yeah, like I just want a giant monster that can actually fight against Godzilla. And I feel like there's not that many.
What
Like,
about the
Outside
Goliath?
of his own universe, you
What
mean?
about the Goliath from The Mist?
I think Godzilla's foot is so big.
Yeah.
His thigh, he sits on that boy, he's gone.
No.
You're saying except for within universe, there's not many other monsters.
No, even outside
of
of the universe, like that. Godzilla's so big. This is the biggest Godzilla's ever been.
Yeah. That's why
I
I
still
want
think the Goliath's bigger.
Destroya.
But it's tiny legs.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
got all those other legs on its body that it could like wrap his face or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
Chunky boy
Oh,
moves slow.
Maybe. Or I'm just saying, maybe King Kong as hero fights Cthulhu. I'm just saying that'd be cool. Eldritch Horror.
Actually, that would be what if Godzilla was in trouble and King Kong had to go and save him from Cthulhu? And I would love that. I want
And then
that.
the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man shows up at the end.
and then he eats
just
him
kidding.
for extra health.
Hollywood, I know you're listening.
That's where we'll end it for
Yes,
today, y'all.
Everybody, thank you so much for listening, for watching live, or if you are on YouTube, to our 100th update. We did it. We did it.
Wow.
We don't have to make any more.
No, we're gonna.
No.
Next week.
We're going to keep going. We're also nearing
I'm
our
retired.
200th episode.
My Lord.
Official 200
That's so
of
crazy.
Nerd on the podcast.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. Thank you so much, everybody, for sending in your questions. We love answering them. Remember to stop by on all the avenues that I said earlier on how to submit your questions. If you're new to Nerd On, check out our website, nerdon.tv. It has all of the information on everything that we do. Has all the linky links there, and it has all of our podcasts there. Check out our YouTube. Stop by here, sub, follow, whatever on Twitch. The podcast is everywhere. All of our podcasts are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, everywhere. And all of our episodes are YouTube. So good stuff. Check it out. If you liked what you heard today, stop by, rate and review, share us with your friends, your family, all of that good stuff. But that is the 100th episode of the Nerd On Update. Thank you so much. We love you all. Take care of yourselves. You know the drill. As always,
Nerd on.
Nerd
Stay
on.
puffed.